Hey there everybody. So this video here is going to be the first in my Q&A video series. Now I don't really know what I'm going to call it yet. We'll pick that up as we go along. Maybe I'll call it Sather Says or Ask Jordan, and I'll figure out something catchy. But anyway, this first question here for the first video comes from our friend EQAnon. I like that one, EQAnon. Comes from Twitter. But he asks, how do I feel about remote viewing? Great question. So to address this, first I want to talk about what remote viewing is for those out there who aren't really familiar with it, and then I'll talk about some of the underlying principles, because it might sound crazy when I explain it to you. So we'll talk about some of the underlying principles on how you can exactly remote view, how remote viewing is possible, and then we're going to discuss how you can do it. I'll show you an example that I've done. But first of all, what is remote viewing? Remote viewing. So just think about those two words together, remote viewing. Basically, it's the concept that when you get into some kind of meditative space, right, you quiet your brain down and you start connecting with, I don't want to call it your higher self, but connecting with the Akashic records, the all-pervasive information field that we're all a part of, you can actually begin to see areas, objects, things, scenes that are distanced from you, that are maybe even another spot on this earth, maybe even not even on this earth, maybe somewhere else in the solar system or somewhere else in the galaxy, okay? And I know this might sound crazy, but it's extremely possible, and it's done. It's done all the time. There's actually classes and courses that you can do for it, and believe it or not, in the intelligence agencies, they covet it. They covet these kind of psionic powers greatly. So, okay, it might sound nuts, sitting there meditating and being able to view an object or view something that's hundreds of thousands of miles away, right? So let's talk about some of the underlying principles on what makes remote viewing possible. First, remember this. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and many other esteemed scientists have said this. All points in space and time are connected, okay? Very pivotal, archetypal understanding of our universe right there. All points in space and time are connected. Quantum physicists say this. I said this in my video when I was discussing anti-gravity. Remember, discussing how craft can actually portal from one place to another? And this is also this also describes how our mind works. That idea of entanglement. Everything's entangled together. And that being said, number two, consciousness. All is mind. Deep, deep hermetic wisdom, cosmic law right there. Everything is consciousness based. Consciousness is the substance that literally makes up our reality. So seeing as mind is everything and all points in space and time are connected, when you do get into that quieted mind, that space where you don't have any incessant thoughts flowing through your head, and you're able to tap into that intelligence source, that source field, as some have called it, right? Then it just flows from there that yes, you're going to be able to view whatever you focus on. Granted, it's not easy to do that. It takes lots and lots of practice, lots and lots of effort. It takes a very, I want to say healthy mind and healthy body, but a very strong mind, very focused mind to do that, to remote view. So if you want to remote view, if you want to practice with it, right, it's kind of fun to do. Actually, there's a lot of different programs, a lot of different even simple things that you can do online for free. What I'm going to do is actually post a picture up of the first remote viewing session that I ever done right here, and you can check it out. You can see how similar the two pictures are. This is the first time that I had ever done it, and I was excited. Granted, I did it a couple times after this and didn't get quite the same results, but I'm pretty proud of my of how closely that sailboat looked to whatever the heck I drew. And I remember in this instance, what I had done is that I didn't want to overthink it. And that's what I think a lot of people do, not just when they meditate, but when they remote view, they overthink the shit out of it. And because they overthink the process, it steers them away from getting it right. So what I did is I just sat down and I didn't want to overthink it. I only sat there for a couple minutes, tried to quiet my mind, and I just drew. And I drew. And I drew whatever was coming to me. I don't even think I looked at the paper. I kept my eyes closed and I was just drawing. And then it came out pretty darn similar. Wasn't too bad for doing it my very first time and not really even doing any courses or learning about it or anything like that. So yeah, if you want to try remote viewing, do just that. You can find easy little things to do on the internet, different websites where they give you a kind of quantifier, and then you draw, right? You meditate and draw whatever comes to you, just whatever comes to you. Don't have any kind of preconceived notions with it, just whatever comes to you, and then see what it is. It's pretty fun. And also on remote viewing, one time I met a guy, his name was Gerald O'Donnell. I met him at the Eclipse of Disclosure conference back in August, and it was awesome meeting this guy. I mean, he knew very, very deep concepts, but he actually has a course that you can do on remote viewing as well. So if you want to go a little deeper into that subject, you can check out Gerald O'Donnell's course and go from there. So anyway, that's how I feel about remote viewing. Super cool ideas, very deep concepts, but very serious concepts as well. Might sound nuts to some at first, but this is taken extremely seriously by a lot of people. And if you want to try it out, go do it. Peace.